Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Twin Peaks Season 2, Episode 9. It's called Arbitrary Law. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. And this marks a bit of an occasion because, from what we understand from online graphs and things, this is the last good episode before the stretch of not so good.
And you can kind of tell it feels like a conclusion.
It feels like a finale. So maybe not a series finale, but a season finale, certainly.
Absolutely a season finale. I feel like it could have ended on this quite comfortably. I mean,
Could have.
barring a few things here and there.
I mean, that's. I mean, obviously, you take out some of the subplots that still need to be wrapped up, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the main plot could have ended here. But we know that it does get better again at the end of the season, so obviously,
for like one episode, maybe.
we'll see. We'll see. Uh, but no, well, no, I guess better before the last episode.
Okay, yeah. There's the few that are okay.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll discuss them when we get to them. I don't.
Yeah,
There's no point in
yeah,
predicting.
yeah. Just based off the graphs that we have seen.
Yes. So yeah, that's a relatively focused episode of Twin Peaks. More focused than usual because it was mostly dealing directly with the core problem, the core thing, the killer, Leland, Bob, that whole shebang. Lots of elements came back into it. The dream came back into it. The giant came back into it.
Pretty
Hell,
much everything that was important and referenced in the past, it all came around.
yeah. So first things first. The first thing I want to get to is so the old grand lady and her grandson that was next door to Harold Smith apparently didn't exist.
Yes, they were never there.
Because Donna hears Andy saying the same thing, because it was on the suicide note that Harold had.
Yeah.
He's in the diner mouthing the same thing that was on the suicide note, and Donna recognises it as the same thing the grandkid said to her. So she sees a connection. She goes gets Cooper. Which, by the way, I was shocked that she said we need to go get Cooper because I'm so used to this show saying something like that and then not doing it until the end of the episode or the next episode that I was shocked that we cut to a scene of her and Cooper walking to the house. So
I
it's
know
like,
it was like
whoa,
whoa.
woof.
This is when you know things are getting close to the end here.
Yeah, pacing is just going through the roof now. But yeah, this woman's like, yeah, that's my name, but I don't. My mother's been dead for years, and obviously I'm not her, and I have no children, and it's all very. And again, it brings it back into this question of was Donna getting a message from somewhere, kind of like Cooper was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, the neighbour had a letter from Harold Smith, which was a letter. It was for Donna, and it was a letter from the secret diary, which he'd ripped out, and she reads, and this was like probably the first like real exciting thing in the episode is
Yeah.
it reads it's Laura talking about how the night before she died, she had the same dream as Cooper.
But before Cooper had it.
But obviously before Cooper, because it was
But
after she died.
yeah, but it's the idea that they had the exact same dream. He just had it like what, a week later.
Yeah, she had the same dream from her point of view. She remembers getting up and going across. Even though in the dream she said that she was her cousin.
Yes.
Let's not gloss over that. But she gets up and she remembers walking over to him and like telling him, and she wonders if this was Mike because it mentions that Mike is the natural enemy of Bob, and she
Yeah.
openly talks about Bob as well, like
Yes.
in this page, like really explicitly.
And how
Bob's there.
she knows who Bob is
Yeah.
and Bob's after her.
And it's later on when Cooper gets all the main players in the Roadhouse, and he gets them all there, and he finally remembers what Laura said to him, what she whispered to him, and it was quite simply, my father killed me.
Yeah. I mean, well, it makes sense because obviously when he woke up after that dream, he immediately says, I know who killed her.
Mm-hmm.
That was what he said. So it made sense that it was as simple as just, this is who killed me. But obviously then he forgot.
Well, do you think he knew when he made that phone call?
No, I think he'd already forgotten, like, but he knew
Yeah,
that he'd been
yeah,
told.
okay, right, yeah. I was going to argue with that. I don't for a
No,
second. Yeah.
he knew exactly what he'd been told, but not who it was.
Yes. Uh, yeah, because he gets everyone together and because there's a scene where Leland like almost is about to kill Donna. Like Donna's
Yeah, it's
in the lion's
getting up
den.
there. It's because she's got the sunglasses.
got the sunglasses, which are Laura's, and he puts on a record. He's like, "Oh, shall we have this dance?" And it's innocent enough at first. I mean, it's a little bit weird. I mean,
Well, no, you say that. I think it's fairly obvious where it's going. Just
oh
knowing.
no! When I say it's innocent enough at first, I mean out of context. Like,
Right.
right. Obviously, we know he's a killer. We know it's going down a path. But I mean,
Yeah, sure. It's a little bit weird.
From her perspective, it's like it's innocent enough at first, is what I mean. Yeah. Until he starts to get really kind of forceful and he starts acting out. And of course, throughout all this, we occasionally see him Bob instead of Leland. We see Bob screaming, or we see Bob in the mirror, or we see, and they're really playing that up. And she gets this sense, and she's worried about Maddie. He gets that phone call about Maddie, and he kind of shrugs it off. I'm sure she's fine. She'll be fine, and all the rest of it. And then of course the sheriff shows up and says you need to come with her. And she figures, she kind of assumes the worst and assumes that Maddie's now dead as well. And she tells James, and James and her have this really weird scene actually where he just can't take it, like, and I kind of like the idea that every time like they're attracted, like like someone who looks like Laura dies, like, and maybe that's what's getting to him more than anything else, is that people keep dying because, I mean, maybe not because of them, that's not right, but he at least feels that way.
Yeah, he's feeling like maybe this isn't meant to be.
Yeah. Of course, what's done because we're actually opening one of the opening episodes, not the very opening. The opening is Cooper, Sheriff Truman, Hawk, and Albert walking in slow motion as they're thinking about the case.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a very good moment. But they're in the diner, but they're in a different corner of the diner that we've not really seen this side of before. And they've got a red tablecloth, red curtains, all red. Yeah, just to let you know. And because when Donna was like in the house with Leland, and I thought, oh, are we going to get a third death? Or even if we don't, what was her with the red in that scene where she's surrounded by red earlier on? Was that a sign of danger? Was that she's in trouble for later, kind of thing? And it was just, but yeah, so they have that emotional moment, and we don't really see much of them beyond that scene. Especially around then when the episode goes full Cooper and goes full case.
Yes.
Because Truman brings Leland to the Roadhouse. Everyone else is brought. At this point, because basically Cooper goes to Gerard, the one-armed man, and he's like, "You need to tell me." After he's read the diary page, he's like, "You need to tell me what how do I find him? What can I do?" And he's like, "Oh, you have all the clues." And he mentions the gold ring. He's like, "Oh, the giant's got the gold ring." And the one-armed man confirms that the giant's real. It's a real thing. And it's actually when he goes back to the hotel that he sees the old guy again, the one that was seen each time before the giant appeared. And he's like, he's a key. He needs to bring him. Yes. He needs to bring him to whatever he's doing. And what little touch that I really liked is that when they all get to the Roadhouse, and like, so Bobby brings in Leo because Cooper believes Leo needs to be there, and Truman brings in Leland. The person who brings in the old guy is Bobby's dad.
Yeah, bringing
Major
him
Briggs.
back in.
And what I really liked about that is because he's the one who told us about, oh, this is messages from like another place. You know, we accept signals from beyond, and he brought this idea into it, and that was to do with the giant, and it was the giant's words that showed up in the messages. There's something really nicely symbolic about him being the one to bring this person who we believe is the gateway to the giant.
Yeah.
So him bringing him in, especially when we've not seen him, it almost feels really random, but it serves this weird purpose where he's the one who, for somehow, intentional or not, who brings this aspect of the show into it.
Yeah, it's the way that he's connected beyond just his job. He's connected on a deeper level like the rest of them, but his connection is specific to this.
Yeah. So it was very interesting. And the last shot with him, it was really good. After everything else goes down at the end, like Cooper and Truman, a couple of the others are walking up this path, and there's this shot of Major Briggs just standing in this path, and he's center frame, and it's a very weird shot. Like, I almost thought it was going to like turn out to be an angel or something, because it was framed.
Yeah, it was strange.
It was framed in this, like, here's the being at the end of the road who's going to give you the answers. And that's not where it went. That's not where it went, but it was framed like that, and it was giving me that kind of vibe.
Do you know what's really weird? I'd seen that scene before.
Oh, really?
That one where they're in the forest just talking at the end. I'd seen that in a lesson, obviously out of context, without knowing that this was kind of where it was in the show and what they were discussing.
I don't think you would even get a spoiler from it on its own.
Oh, it wasn't. It was.
Yeah.
I only remembered. It was kind of like getting a bit of deja vu. It was kind of familiar, and then Cooper says to the sheriff, would it make you feel better if you believed that a man raped his own daughter and killed her?
Yeah,
and when he said that, I was like, oh, I've seen this before, and it all came rushing back.
Yeah, because Truman's saying he can't really understand this whole Bob stuff and this stuff, you know, people coming from another place, and he's talking about how he can't wrap his head around it, it's just too weird. And that's when Cooper says, well, is it more comforting if it's just a guy decided to rape and kill his own daughter? Is that any better? And he's like, no. It's just as disturbing. It's just,
Yeah.
and
then I realized I'd seen it before, and it's like, that was a weird scene to have
yeah.
seen before.
But the whole showdown though, because they basically they don't actually rule out Ben right away that I thought they would, because it turned out he did have a couple hours where he could have killed Maddie.
Yeah, we saw it maybe a little bit out of sequence.
Yeah. So you think, oh, they're still going to nail him, but you get the feeling Cooper knows this isn't right. Cooper's got that intuition, got that luck. He's got that Tibetan method that he mentions every so often, and he basically traps Leland. He convinces Leland that Leland's there to be a lawyer for Ben, and it's just when Ben's about to go into the interrogation room, the cell, they push in Leland and lock the door, and Leland immediately, or I should say Bob immediately starts screaming and acting crazy, and they know right away like what's going on, and obviously this is after Cooper's remembered what Laura said to him.
Yes.
In the dream, and that whole stuff as well, by the way, was great with the giant appearing, and it didn't even say anything. It's just because he remembered the dream, and because he remembered, which I think actually is what the giant meant, because I think we spoke a lot about how it meant the note that he dropped under the bed.
Yeah,
I think it's more likely to be this. It's more likely to be you've forgotten who the killer is because Laura just told you.
Yeah, you've forgotten this important detail.
Yeah. But he drops the ring and gives him his ring back, and sure enough, there it is. And there's something super surreal about all these other characters going along with all this. But at the same time, they kind of sell it in this really interesting way, where even Albert's like, "Look, we got a second killer, or a second murderer victim. You're the only place who can go to this place, Cooper. I'm the science and I do this, but you can go to a different plane of existence almost and do whatever you need to do to bring it." But they all stand around and they do this charade for him.
Yeah, what as Albert says to him is, "You're the only piece of hardware that we have for this," or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But I love that bit when they're all sitting in the room and it cuts to the still frames as it goes around each of them as it takes them, and they all kind of experience this.
Yeah, and the lighting in that scene is very almost alien abduction looking, because
it is.
The thunder and lightning keeps going off, and it keeps like lighting up the room, and so all those still frames are all like mid flash, so they're all brightly overlit kind of thing. Really good stuff. But the whole thing, everything with Leland or slash Bob, when they get him in the cell and he's screaming and they're asking him questions, and unfortunately, Dick. We'll get to Lucy subplot in a minute, but Dick's around at the police station and he starts smoking under the smoke detector that's just been refitted, and, which is a really funny scene actually. But we'll get to
we'll get to that. Yeah.
But they're in the room and the sprinklers all go off, which I actually I recently learned that this is bullshit when this happens in movies and TV. Sprinklers aren't designed to go off in the whole building at the same time.
No, why would they? They'd go off in the area where the fire is.
And it's pointless because you're just going to damage more stuff that doesn't need to be damaged.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a police station, so there's not a lot of equipment or anything like that around, but still. But, no, so they're in the cell, and he basically starts bashing his head against the wall.
Yeah.
And
really violently.
And this is after a bit of an interrogation where he's like, "Oh, this vessel's almost done. It's been fun riding you, Leland, but..."
I think the important part that we get out of that sequence is that we learn that Leland doesn't know any of this.
Yeah, he forgets things. He makes them forget.
Yeah, but he says that just to be cruel, he's going to make him remember when he goes.
Yeah, it's just because obviously you get that Bob's evil and he's always been evil, but this is super like
it's especially cruel, isn't it?
This is his first example. Yeah, he's going to let Leland remember it.
This is going to make Leland remember him raping his own daughter.
Yes, which is...
That is dark as shit.
So, basically after the head bashing, this is Bob leaving his body. Bob leaves, and Leland's left there, like, kind of dying, and Cooper, the sprinklers are all going off, and as much as I'm saying it's bullshit they went off,
makes for a great image, doesn't
it makes for a great image, because they're all soaking wet, it's like constantly running water as they're
even
talking.
just the sheriff, when he's running to unlock the door and just slips, and just that extra moment of tension that it gives.
Yeah, it feels like everything's going down. It's almost like it's like a thunderstorm outside, but it's almost like the storm comes inside the building.
Yeah.
Because the water all starts going off. And that's how big of a sort of biblical event, if you will, is going on. And he's holding Leland, so Cooper's holding Leland. And he's trying to talk to him. And Leland's remembering, because Cooper puts a lot of things together before they go in there, like before stuff goes down. He's like, he pieces, the letters were trying to tell Robert, and we find more about this from Leland. He's like, oh yeah, Bob's someone who I met as a kid, and he and I was a kid, and he asked me to let him in, so I let him in. And the reason why Laura was killed was because Bob wanted in, and Laura was too strong. She wouldn't let him. So Bob made Leland kill her. Which is it's really dark, but it's a really cool bit of mythology. Like, that's why they wanted her, because she was a better seer than her parents were. She had this ability, and they wanted her, but she was strong enough to fight it. But that just made him jealous, evil, crazy.
And Ray Wise absolutely kills it in this scene.
Oh yeah, that scene's fantastic. I think he's great in the scene. See when it's meant to be Bob, and he's like laughing, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm going to make him remember," and like, all that was great. And then him like lying there, and this is his death scene. He dies at the end of the scene. He's from his head injuries. But he like, all this mythology spouts out. It's fascinating stuff, because it does tie everything together. It makes you understand why it was her, why she was maybe so messed up, because she knew Bob was sometimes in her father, and she recognised the difference.
Yeah.
She could see him, and that's why she was such a... I mean, arguably she still did far too much for any one person could do in a week, because she was Meals on Wheels, she tutored the Audrey's brother, she did all this. Meanwhile, she was having cocaine, she had like 4 boyfriends. Like, no one just has time to fit all this in a week.
They just don't.
It's impossible.
When did she go to school?
She's the Flash. Hey, the show's forgotten half these characters are meant to be in high school. They've not mentioned it since, like... I think there was like one line, like 5 episodes ago of how was school today.
The latest one I can think of was that one with Bobby and his dad.
Yeah. And even then, it was just a how was school today, and that was it.
That was it, yeah.
That was it. But, no, really good. Ray Wise kills it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And he starts crying about what he did to his daughter. And he goes out, and it's like... You almost wonder, is it a mercy thing almost that he has dying? Like,
I think it is.
He shouldn't have to live with this.
He'd have to live with that. That would be worse, surely.
Yeah, but he implies that he says that he sees Laura, though. He says that he sees her at the end of the light, the tunnel, if you will, and. Yeah, so maybe there's happiness beyond. Although poor Sarah Palmer, who's still alive in the house with no family left.
I do hope they address her, because she's kind of been absent, really. Other than when she appeared for the horse and then went back upstairs. We haven't really seen her deal with any of this recently.
I think it shows what she's like, though, and how she's kind of put up with this for like years, since since Laura was a kid, and this weird stuff's maybe went on where he's changed his personality, and she seems to be kind of broken, and maybe she's always been broken because of all this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and maybe I'm getting that kind of feeling from it, but
yeah, it makes sense.
I know. No, really exciting episode. It was like... This was like the mythology all coming to a head, and it was the characters finally putting things together. We'd already kind of put together, but this was like flat out, no, Mike and Bob came from another place, they killed people together, but then Mike saw God's true face, cut off his arm for his sins, and is now the natural enemy of Bob.
Yeah.
And Bob, when Leland was a kid, he presented himself also as a kid to let Leland let him in to himself, which sounds really dirty when you say it out of context. And
I think it's supposed to sound like that. It's supposed to sound very invasive.
Yeah. Yeah, he's violating them, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, like, and do we get all this? It feels like, yeah, that's all. And it kind of does make sense that this feels like a finale, and that maybe the next chunk of episodes, maybe there'll be some good fallout from some of this, like, them dealing with Sarah Palmer and stuff like that. But we might have a lot of other plots to put up with for a little while.
Do you know what I thought was a little great bit of this as well? It's when Bob shouts out the poem from inside the cell.
Yes.
And it's just, the delivery of it is fantastic. But then he does the little bit after that ends with, "I will kill again."
I
and it's
believe he will.
just
Well,
so. Oh yeah, absolutely.
because the thing is when they go out into the forest afterwards, and they're all just sort of distraught. Truman can't handle it, and we talked about the lines they pass
Yeah.
around. Major Briggs even says, "Does it matter what the reason is? Really, something horrible's happened." And Cooper's like, "No, it does, because we need to stop it." And they can't stop it because, as Truman even points out, where if Bob's left, where is he now?
Yeah.
And we get that last little moment where it looks like he's went into an owl. Like these people who come from this other place, whatever it is, they live in owls when they're not in people.
Yes.
As at least that's what it seems. Maybe they can live in any animal, but they choose owls for whatever reason.
Could be.
But he seems to be he's in an owl. But the whole idea that like this new season coming up, is Bob back?
I'm actually. This episode is the point where I've gone, okay, I'm excited for the next season. Because it's like, okay, I get an idea of maybe what sort of stuff it can be now. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's almost like this time Cooper will be ready. Like, he understands the
like
game.
He spent the last 20 years preparing.
It's like Bob will come back one day, and now I understand, like, because before it's almost like a two-dimensional character trying to understand a third dimension, or us in the three-dimensional world trying to understand a fourth dimension. He didn't understand what he was fighting, but now, not that he's an expert by any means, but now getting into it, he has more of an idea.
I mean, obviously, we're saying this not having seen how this ends, but I'd love it to be something like he spent the last 20, 25 years just preparing, training, hunting. And then ultimately he realizes, nah, it's going to be Twin Peaks again.
I don't know if I initially think you'll have went hunting necessarily.
I don't know. I feel like if it doesn't end on a way that it looks like Bob is defeated, I feel like it'd be really weird for Cooper to let it go. Like, he feels like.
Well, I don't know if it'll be a case of let it go. It may just be. I can see it being very. Like, okay, sort of unexplained, but there's not really much I can do about it. And it'll be like, years later when we get to the new season where it'll be like, wait, I recognise these clues. This is...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we'll get the last two letters from the name from the victims, but maybe like a body will turn up with the next letter like 25 years later, and it's like, oh, it's on. It's on.
Yeah.
But, no, so that stuff was good. So we should mention some of the little plots that were in there. Obviously, Lucy deals with Andy and Dick, and there's some really funny scenes because Andy comes up to Lucy and tries to demand to talk about his baby, and this is like the repairman's like working on the smoke detector, the smoke alarm, and he's on a ladder in between them, and he's up, screwing things and whatever, and he just like, we have to talk about my sperms, and it just cuts to a shot of the guy in the ladder just been like, should I?
What is going on here?
But my favourite part of all this though is like Andy storms off into the office and he phones Dick's place of work. He's like, I need to speak to Dick who works in X department. And Lucy's like, oh, you're not going to hurt him, are you? And it cuts to a side shot and you just see her go like this. Like it's this thing where she's impressed that Andy's taking the initiative and he's being strong, and she looks just downright turned on the entire time until Andy at one point says, well, if you're not too busy. And then her face just drops again, and it's just it's so much fun. But they eventually she shows up, and they have this scene where she sits across the table and they're both side by side, and she demands, she's like, all right, until the baby's born and we can do some tests, we don't know who the father is, so until then I expect cooperation from both of you.
Sets them straight.
So that's where we are. Also, we got one scene with Ben. Catherine, thank you. Catherine, a lot of names in this show. Catherine showed up in her get up, in her disguise, and it just had like the business banter with Ben, like, oh, they're going to sign the contract, am I getting my money back? And then she took her foot out her shoe and put that through the bars, and it was clearly a woman's foot. And maybe it's a very distinct woman's foot, because Ben looks at the foot and goes, Catherine?
See, I took that to mean Ben has a thing for feet, and whatever they did that night.
Okay, sure.
That's what I took
it
to mean. Like, that's why it's like that's why you know it was her specifically. Like, why no one else would do that.
Do you know what I like though? See you, because he set up pleads and says, "Oh, tell him where I was that night. Like, be my alibi for." And the funny thing is now post the end of the episode, we know he doesn't need that. He doesn't need that alibi anymore.
So now Catherine's got nothing over him.
well, doesn't matter. He's already signed the papers because he starts pleading, and she's like, "Well, you sign over the mill and that to me." And he's like, "Of course." And Joe, I like. He almost sounds impressed that she's played this game. It's like he respects the hustle almost. So he immediately signs it and hands it back. He's like, "Right, you tell them." And she's like, "I'll consider it." But luckily for him, Cooper's magic buddies helped out, and we know that Leland was the one behind the murder.
I was pretty lucky for him because
lucky.
they had some evidence.
But now he's going to be out of prison, and he's going to have to like watch Catherine have the mill.
Yeah, she played her cards just a little bit too early.
I don't know if she did.
Well, from her perspective, she couldn't have known anything better. But the idea is,
if anything, she played them at the right time.
Perhaps
Because she couldn't blackmail him after he got free.
She couldn't blackmail him. No.
So, in my opinion, she played it perfectly.
Well, this is assuming that she comes back out as her and back to the public. If she's not able to do that just yet for whatever reason,
I think she can. I don't think there's any legal reason. Like, she didn't claim to be dead. I don't think to anyone. If that makes sense.
I don't think so. She just wasn't there.
Yeah, and people just assume she was in a fire.
Yeah, that's just true. It's a very good episode.
It was a very good episode. This was very climactic. It was. I'm almost shocked Lynch didn't direct this one.
Yeah, me too. Actually,
no, not because it was directed like his. Even though it had a lot of good directional stuff in it, there was a lot of good sequences. Just in the sense of the content.
Yeah. I wonder if this is down to we spoke. I think it was last episode how maybe Lynch didn't actually want to reveal this. So I wonder if maybe it was almost a bit of a protest where it was like, look, you're going to do it, but I don't have to be a part of it.
Maybe, I don't know. It may have just been a scheduling thing. Maybe he'd already decided he was going. Maybe he helped with the script and then packed his bags and he was on his way. I don't know, but it was this was a very, very invigorating episode. The last like 20 minutes were just balls to the walls. Like everything big was going down. Everything with Leland where. Just something as simple as him openly talking as Bob, where it's Bob talking, kind of like how we've seen the one-armed man talking as Mike.
Yeah.
But this was cooler because we hadn't really heard from Bob yet, in the dream, of course. But But it's interesting that when Cooper brings up the dream to Mike and Bob, both of them acknowledge that. Oh yeah, we were in there. Like we know about this.
Yeah,
we remember that. So.
So I will say, obviously, there's the new show coming and we're doing it for this. But if I was just watching this on my own and there wasn't a new one coming, I'd probably stop here. I've done this with other shows, like Sleepy Hollow is the most recent example, where it got to a point halfway through the second season and they'd wrapped up the main story and it was like, that was it. That is all I needed from this show.
However, I have heard the season 2 finale is one of the best episodes.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I've also heard the movie's really good, so.
Yeah, but ultimately, I feel like if I stopped here, I would be satisfied. I've completed the journey, so to speak.
Well, tough.
I know. I'm saying that. I feel like I could. Is all
because episode 10 is next, and it's coming, and I wonder how apparent because I mean, it doesn't sound like it's going to be gradual. Everything I've heard sounds like it's just a sudden drop. So I'm wondering how apparent it's going to be. Like this next conversation we have about Twin Peaks later this week. Like, will it just instantly be, and will it be, like, I imagine they'll be quicker, actually. I don't see us going, nearly 30 minutes on the bad episodes.
Maybe on the first one, just saying, well, like
why it's bad. Yeah.
What's different, but the rest of them probably not.
It'll just be like talking about the plot points and what
getting through it.
Yeah. But no, solid. Interestingly, they brought in Big Ed for the scene at the Roadhouse. He wasn't in the last episode, I don't think, and he was here for maybe just this one scene.
Yeah,
that was him. But no, so that was a solid episode of Twin Peaks. So we're somewhat dreading the next chunk, but we will soldier on through it. Obviously, this one was slightly late again. I need to stop promising when the next one's going to be, but this was slightly late. But just don't worry, we'll be done in time for the new one. That is the ultimate.
As a guarantee, yeah, we will.
But yeah, so you'll probably get an extra one this week because things are a little bit quieter TV wise. But there you go. That is episode 9 of season 2 of Twin Peaks. It feels like, I mean, given that season 1 was 8 episodes, then this was like episode 9. This feels like the end of a second season almost.
It does, but realistically, there's 30 episodes plus the movie. This is episode 16. So we're only actually halfway through.
17.
17. Right. So just over halfway. I can't count, apparently.
So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at @mailed_first for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for everyday ramblings. And hopefully, we have some interesting discussions to come for the troubled section. I'm curious to see what it's like, though, because I'm not really sure. I'm assuming...
There is a morbid curiosity, isn't there?
I'm assuming it's just going to feel like a really weird soap opera.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, but...
It'll be like, the stuff like we get with Lucy and Andy, but that'll be the whole show. Those sorts of plots. It's like,
and also,
okay.
why will Cooper still be around if they've solved the case?
Good question.
He just decides to take a break. And I'm just going to stay here for a while. I like it so much. I'm going to stick around and eat some donuts.
Maybe it's just on the lookout in case Bob comes back.
Maybe. There we go. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.